Alright, the finale character of Season 2 is finally upon us. We finally have the legendary Super Saiyan Broly, as well as a slight bit of slew of buffs and some nerfs. So we're going to go ahead and talk about all of this stuff with some new changes to the tier list, and talk about some new placements, as well as with the addition of Broly, some characters that are going to be having their positions changed here on the tier list based off of not only his appearance, but also just their overall performance and how things have been kind of unfolding throughout our existence here in Season 2 in Gekishin Squadron. So let's go ahead and start off with the buffs we got were for Baby, Krillin, and 17. And we're just going to make this nice and simple. We're just going to throw... Baby moves up the good and roll. The buff was very slight, but the increased cooldown to his possession skill while he is possessing an ally being shorter, so he's able to actually inflict more damage and more healing because you're able to click the button a little bit more, just vastly makes this character work towards the gimmick that he really wants to work with. Like, he still has the good displacement, he still has the good debuffing, but now his gimmick that he wants to rely on is actually, you're no longer just making it a 2v1, you're actually doing solid damage and solid healing because you're clicking that button much faster. So it's a great step in the right direction for Baby. I still think he needs just a little bit more oomph, but for now, the buffs that they gave him, he is actually a good character to be clicking with his little sight buff. Krillin is going to move out of decent and just got here to good. Krillin, I don't remember all the buffs off the top of my head. I'll just throw it up here on the screen for you guys. But basically, Krillin's entire game plan, bit of damage, bit of range, everything was just buffed and just makes him work and function a little bit better. It allows him to play to the role that he wants to play as a disruption / rat style technical. It gives him that oomph to really just, while he's not competing with some characters up here, if you are giving him the right TLC while he's on the battlefield, Krillin will still shine. He just has to work a little bit harder than some of the characters that are up above him, which is the only reason why he's sticking around and good. I really do enjoy that we don't have a singular bad technical. I think every single one of these technicals are good in their own rights, and that makes me feel good considering, you know, it's the role that I would consider like one of the most important to work with, because of how they're meant to support certain team fights. So I love the fact that the technicals are all good in their own rights. The nerfs were for Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and Ultimate Gohan. These characters are not moving. Ultimate Gohan's nerfs were a little more heavy-handed than Vegeta's. His damage on his ult got adjusted. He has less health. He has just less damage output overall, and he's more in line as a technical. He's no longer a DPS in the technical role with technical-like abilities, but he is still far and away the best. And we're actually going to take Kid Gohan and just put him here because Ultimate Gohan's existence makes it so why would you ever play Kid Gohan? Yes, he has defensive utility, but like, I'm going to be completely serious. I would prefer my defensive utility just being my opponent can't play for 5 seconds while Gohan's doing his thing. This Gohan just is far and away just a better character, outclasses Gohan. This Gohan is still good. It's just, again, why are you picking him over him? Like, you could just do the exact same thing. Like, yeah, sure, you don't have that defensive / supportive, but you have the displacement, you have the stuns, you have the debuffing. Like, everything that this Gohan wants to do is just done better. And then the nerfs to Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta were not enough. The 0.5 second decrease on the stagger was not enough. They need to drop it to 1 second. There's no reason for that thing to still be up for 1.5 seconds. And I know 0.5 seconds really don't seem like that big of an issue, but when it's still being paired with General Rildo, you are then stunned into a wall, and then stunned into a wall, and then you're dead before you can really even move. Like, and there's no really avoiding walls either. It's the same kind of situation with Gohan. There's no avoiding walls either because these skills are only going to get larger. You're going to get kicked into a wall regardless, and then you're just going to be stun locked. And the better the skill gets later on down the road, the more people it's going to get caught in that in team fight situations. Like, it needs to be dropped down to 1. The nerf on the shield was pretty good, dropping it down to 5 to 3, but as long as that kick still remains as dominant as it is, Vegeta is still by far and away just the absolute best tank in the game. Like, there is no competition at the moment besides maybe Cooler, and Cooler is still only up here just by grace of what Cooler does. Like, Cooler is still just a really phenomenal tank, but Vegeta is far and away the best. Now, before we get talking about other adjustments to the tier list, let's talk about some characters that are moving down and getting adjusted here. Because please, for all that is high and mighty, please stop playing these two characters until they get buffed. Like, I tried to defend Vegeta before, but this character really is only good if you have skill 2 and superstar active at the same time. Like, I cannot tell you how many games I have played where I'm trying my best to make Vegeta work and I'm getting outclassed in early game by Zamasu and even late game by Zamasu because Vegeta just does nothing. Like, Big Bang Attack does not do enough damage. Like, people will literally run into the Big Bang Attack because they are not worried about it. Like, the only part of this character that actually functions in his kit is his damn skill 2. And then his skill 3 just makes it so he gets extra tanky and just sticks around in the fight longer than he ever needs to. And then skill 1 is absolutely garbage. And then Trunks is just far and away the worst DPS. Yes, he's got insane burst damage in certain regards, but you got to work so much harder with this character than any of these other DPSs ever have to, and then some. And then you're not even getting the kills that you want, and then 90% of the time you're getting sucked up by something up here and you're just gonna die. Like, just stop picking these two. Now let's go ahead and talk about Broly. At first I was gonna write off Broly as here, but I got to start playing the character a little bit more, and I really learned that he is definitely up here. Like, this character is actually solid and pretty underrated right now, but if you play him correctly, he is a damage dealing disruptive monster that can get the job done. I will say he's not without his shortcomings. Range characters kind of just eat him alive because he's more strike based. Like, his despair gauge raises his strike defense. He does more damage with his normal attacks. So, like, you want to be on strike based characters, but if you could sit at a range where Broly can't get to you because his skills are a little on the slower side, you're gonna just kind of eat him alive. It's a little difficult for Broly to approach range characters because the speed at which his skills come out. But once Broly gets on you, that's a bit of a different story. His despair gauge does feel a little on the slower side, and it's a little inconsistent because while Roar is your main way of filling the despair gauge, like, you want both of his offensive tools to be maxed. And the only real way to increase that outside of his ult is his skill 1, and his skill 1 is a little on the slower side. Like, it is a charge skill, kind of like Super Saiyan 3 Goku's, but whereas Super Saiyan 3 Goku's, that thing's immediately hitting its end goal wherever you're aiming it, and you can adjust it and move it at any given time based off of how it works. This thing takes a little bit of time to get to its final destination. So if things are a little on the outer end, you might miss them because they're just moving around and things like that. But it is still his best opener going into a fight. You're charging this up before you get into a fight so you can inflict it and get the spare gauge up going at least a little bit. So this way you can then follow up with skill 2, and then this way you can follow up a Roar, and then this way you can follow up your skill 2. It's just his best opener, and once it gets into the higher levels, it has a very good AoE. So once you get Broly going, once you get everything that you want done with this character moving, Broly's gonna function. He's gonna do damage. He's got one of the highest damaging ults in the game. I would say another one of his shortcomings is just he's not great at boss destruction outside of the ultimate. So a lot of the other characters in this role and the ones above him here in best in role kind of burst down bosses just a little bit better than he does, but he is still an AoE team fight monster. I think he's really good. I don't think he is a broken release. I don't think he's fitting himself up here in best in role, but I think he is kind of just, yeah, he's just great. Like, he does his job, he does it well. He's very simple to play, very simple to pick up, and he is one of my mains. I love playing him. I'm not trying to oversell him. I'm not trying to undersell him. I think he's in a good, comfortable spot where if you let Broly do what Broly's going to do, you're going to hurt for it. So you just have to be ready and be prepared for it. Now, because of the way Broly works, since he's more strike dependent and he has increased damage resistance to strike based characters, that makes a lot of range characters a little more glittery. So what's really going on here is that we have some characters that are gonna adjust, and I'll specify if they're specifically moving because of Broly's existence. The first character we're moving, we're throwing him up here. We kind of underestimated Oob, but now with his existence, with Broly's existence, he eats that man alive. Oob destroys Broly because his mobility is just phenomenal. That, and he's got that, like, the highest burst damage, especially in the late game. Like, Oob genuinely destroys Broly, but I did genuinely underestimate this character. Oob will tear a lot of people apart, and if you underestimate him at any point, you're gonna be hurt. So Oob is gonna move up. We're gonna have Oob here up at the top. A character I'm gonna move down, and a lot of people are gonna be a little upset about this one, but I just don't, with Broly's existence, like, yeah, that power pole extension is great, but like, he's just gonna get eaten alive. Like, it just won't do enough damage. Like, yeah, sure, you can keep Broly away a little bit, but you don't have the tools to keep him off of you with the range that you have, because Broly's gonna make his way onto you, especially with that skill 2. He's gonna get onto Diamond Goku, and he's gonna eat him alive. Not only that, we have a lot of characters up here that just really just do it better. I really don't understand people with Diamond Goku, and 90% of the time when he is on my teams or he is against the enemy team, he's not really performing at the caliber that a lot of people are thinking that this character can perform. I'm sure in the right hands he is a menace, but I think he's one of these characters now that just has to work harder than other characters. This one, I'm ready for this one. Bojack is absolutely best in role and a better Super Saiyan Goku. Hear me out. This is not only just because of Broly's existence. While Bojack does have a okay-ish early game, everything that Goku wants to do, Bojack just does it better. Yeah, sure, he's got the Spirit Bomb ult, but Bojack has that damage even outside of his ult, and he can do it at a safe distance. You got Meteor Smash, he's got skill 3 that applies a movement debuff and has follow-up damage that he gets off of his normals. The only thing I'll give Goku over Bojack right now is Kaioken to get out of sticky situations, but again, you just apply that movement debuff and you're out. You're gone. He's got insane damage off of skill 1, and then on follow-ups with the skill 2, like the Kamehameha, cool. That does nothing to a skill 2 following into skill 3 and skill 1. Like, everything that Goku wants to do, Bojack can do at a safer distance. He can defend gods like no one's business. He can nuke bosses like no one's business. He can force towers like no one's business at a safe distance because of the way Bojack functions. And a lot of people have been sleeping on his ult. That thing has been my favorite thing to click once I realized that, just one, the absurd range that it has, and two, the absolute pressure it can apply in a team fight if you're using it from the back and behind specific cover, or defending a god of destruction, where I have gotten multiple team wipes with that damn thing. Bojack has made his way from the bottom of the barrel to the best in the role, hands down, absolutely hands down. Now let's kind of continue on here. There's just a few more adjustments that I did want to make. I'm gonna go ahead and take Cell, and I'm gonna move him here. And this one is another one that's simply because of Broly's existence. Cell already had a really weak early game, and while skill 1 does a good chunk of damage to Broly, everything else about Broly just kind of puts Cell on his ass and makes it really difficult for Cell. And Cell was already, I'm not gonna lie, Cell's mid to late game was already hanging by a thread here in good and roll, but like that early game really does bog him down a ton, and it makes it really difficult for this character to just kind of perform and do what he wants to do. We can go ahead and actually just get rid of that roll there real fast. Yeah, like Cell was clinging to good and roll based off of that mid to late game by a thread, and just with Broly coming in, like, this character was already working hard in that early game. If Broly's coming into his lane, man, there's not much this character could do. He's gonna get forced back almost at every situation that he can, unless he's got an insane partner. And unfortunately, a lot of ranged characters don't really want to mix with Cell, because Cell himself is already squishy. So if those ranged characters get rushed in that early game, there's not much Cell can really do to stop him. So yeah, Cell is going to be scooting down because of Broly. Broly's are everywhere right now. It's going to make his life a living hell. And I think that just about does it. I think this is where we are currently at with Broly's existence, buffs, and meta changes and developments. One, because of Broly's existence, and two, because of other realizations that we have come to have, like with Bojack. Dude, I'm telling you, even before Broly came around, like, I was coming around real hard to Bojack because of the utility that he has. And it's just, dude, he is a menace. He is a genuine monster. I don't think he's better than Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I will give you guys that. But he is definitely best in role. Absolutely. Goku is hands down still better than all the other DPSs that are in the roles below him. But where it stands, like everything that Goku wants to do, Bojack just does it better. Absolutely. And at a safer distance and just works better. So that'll do it for this tier list adjustment. Let me know what you guys think of Broly down below. Do you guys think he's good? Do you guys think he's weak? I know a lot of people are thinking that he's a little weak at the moment. So it's definitely going to take a bit of an adjustment for a lot of people. It took me a little bit. I was going to put him down here, but I do think the character is pretty solid. I do think he is pretty strong despite a few shortcomings. I do think he's a character that is in need of some buffs. Kind of like Topo is pretty great in his role. A lot of people are sleeping on the character. I do think he is still in need of a bit of buffs, but again, he's going to get the job done while he's sitting here in this role. So that'll do it for me, guys. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, and I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you so much for watching.